I guess it's time for me to get back on with this one. I have some updates. It's missing a window. I took the bumper off. I have a replacement light. A while back I put a bucket seat in, but I don't know if I ever documented that. It's got proper tubes in there, could do with some new rails, and I had to notch down in there. Still got a bit of tidy up work to do. That's pretty much it for the inside. Seat's nice and low and leant back how I like it. All runs fine. I drove it around a field a couple of weeks ago when I moved it off the garden. But yesterday and today I started to rip apart the CRV, which was all the all-wheel drive running gear has been donated to me by Ozzy in the comments, so he is definitely a full-on legend. But I pulled all of this out yesterday, and then today I got the transmission out and on the floor. So the next stage is to start pulling this apart so I can get the gearbox out and trial fit this gearbox. So I think I'm going to pull all the boost pipes out, the intercooler radiator, maybe take the turbo off, gear shifters or gear shifter cables, wheels, undo the lower arms and get the drive shafts out. Then I'm going to see what the time is and maybe call it a day, because it is already 2 o'clock and I've got work tomorrow, unfortunately. On this episode of How Will Kevin Escalate Things This Time, plan was to work until 4 o'clock and then go home, have a bath, watch the downhill mountain biking and chill out. Well, it's now 4:30. We have the gearbox with the transfer case there, and we have the two-wheel drive box there, and we have an engine on the floor. I was certainly not planning on taking the engine out of this car today. The plan was to just get everything ready so I could take it out tomorrow evening after work. But now I'm in a situation where I've got the crane out. At least the engine's on the floor. So if I wanted to, I can just put the crane away, shut the bonnet, put a sheet over stuff and go home. Still got to sort that window out. But I am so curious to know whether this box is going to fit in this car. I think it's going to have enough room between the steering rack and the box this way, but I don't know about that way. It's going to come right up under here and it's most certainly going to hit the floor. But if I can get it up in the air and get an idea, then maybe tomorrow night I can cut the floor. But I am curious. I really want it to miss that rack. Okay, so a quick update to finish off this video, because it's getting dark and I want to go home. I've approximately put probably 4 hours into taking the old gearbox out, which involved dropping the engine, putting the new gearbox on the engine, getting it all up in the air, and cutting a little bit of floor. Let's see if I can get under and show you. So that's how much clearance around the rack I've got for the transfer case. I've had to cut, hang on, let me get the light better. I've had to cut a small amount of floor out, but it's double skin, so I'm not actually into the main tunnel of the car. This is just the strengthened part for the rear mount. And then I also roughed in the prop. It's going down the middle of the centre bearing is in the middle of the tunnel. Right, so as you can see, I really could do with cutting a bit more. This steering rack mount's going to be a bit of a pain in the bum, so what I'm going to do is take the rack apart and weld a solid bracket straight to the rack. And I don't know what I'll do up this end because it's alley. maybe I'll do the same. Maybe I'll just make a replacement for that rubber bush so it just solidifies it all. You can see I cut into the main tunnel a little bit, but I'm going to plate it on the other side to make it all strong, because obviously the steering rack's in this area. As you can see, the prop pretty much clears, or it does clear, all the way down. So if I put the diff right in the middle, the shafts will probably be an inch or so different in length. But if I put equal length shafts in, the diff's going to be right over to the left hand side of the car by an extra inch, and that'll give me a ton of clearance. And to be honest, I can't quite lift the prop up because of the axle being in the way and the prop being so long, but I might not have to cut any tunnel at the back. That's something that is yet to be seen or discovered. So you see, this is where the rear mount would be on the Honda. So whether I make a mount that comes underneath and bolts up in this section, which is already multiple skinned and strong, so I'll probably use 3mm in this edge here, folded over and come right up to here, which is also mega strong because it's multiple skins, and put mounting points in here, and I can come straight out to here with some sort of mount. But I could also go up in the back here where I had that old mount. I think it bolted to that bolt hole and those two, and came down to the mount down here. But I could obviously change that and go up here. Also, this mount here was a bit of a problem. It's hitting these bolts because the gearbox is quite a bit different to the old one, which is here. As you can see, my old mount bolted there, and down under there. So the new mount will have to be here, and under there. So what I'm going to do is make a plate, and I'm also going to plate this area in, so it'll come up and sit on top of the chassis leg, bolts down through, 2 or 3 of them. I'm going to lose this, but I'm going to save jobs like that until the weekend when I've got more time and I can drop the engine right down. And I'm going to solid mount this mount and that mount, and I'm going to do the same on this side. I'm going to cut all this out, get rid of this, get rid of that, and make another mount here that's solid. And I've also got the option of making a mid plate, so a nice thick bit of alley, and come to the front cross member. Or I think here, and here was where it was mounted in the CRV, so I could come from there forward. So I've got multiple options. But yeah, this mount needs to go. And before I start making mounts, I need to put the drive shafts in. And sorry, that light, I'll go around the other side. Last time I put the drive shafts in, and I measured the distance from the CV joint to this leg, this piece of chassis on both sides, made sure that was the same, and I also made sure that the engine was level. So I'm going to do the same again to get the engine in the right position. And the transfer case, I'm real happy that it misses the steering rack. It's quite incredible. Quite a bit of luck. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video, and when I've got more progress, significant progress, I will report back.